data will be stored in the address, and how we can modify, read or write the data in the bitband region, that we have seen. And we have seen the address aliasing or address mapping with respect to bitband region to the alias region also. Two regions are there in the SRAM, and one more is in peripheral region, peripheral memory region. Both addresses we have seen. And with respect to the example they have given, one example it is given here. You can see that set the address 200 to the value of 3355 AACC. This is the actual value. Okay, you can see that this is the value. And read address, you are reading the address from 22008. This read access is remapped into the read access of this value, actual address. The return value is 1, bit 2 of this value. Okay, bit 2 of this value is taken as the value which is present in 22008. Okay, write 0 to your address means you are changing the value which is present in the bit 2 of this into 0. If you are changing that one, the CC will become C8. Okay, the bit 2 is cleared, the value will become C8. Then address which is present in the address 2000 will be having this value. Okay, if you want in clear, I'll write it on Word document now. Okay, 1 minute, give me 1 minute. I'll present the whole window also, and I'll show you with, yeah,
Yes,
see,
ma'am.
yeah, in this address, this is address space. Here I'll write address part only. Remaining part I'll tell you with respect to data. Address. Next, if we are seeing the value present in this address, okay, the value present in this address is what they have given is 3355 AA and CC. You can see this now. If you want the font size more, I'll put it. I'll increase it. Now you can see, I think. Can you see, guys? Replay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is the address in bitband region. Okay, in bitband region, this value is stored. This is actually a 32-bit value. Okay, how to write this in the terms of binary value? Can anyone tell? Change this hexadecimal value into a binary value. How can we write? 3. 3 in 4-bit value. 0, 0, 1, 1. And next 3 is 0, 0, 1, 1. And for 5, what? 0, 1, 0, 1. 0, 1, 0, 1. That is also 5. For A, what is the value? For A, 1, 0, 1, 0. Another one, 1, 0, 1, 0. That is also A. And two A's are over, and you want CC. What is C value? What is the C value?
110.
Yeah, 1100. In the same way, 1100. This is the representation of 32-bit value. Actually, the representation or value which is stored in this address is in this format. Okay, to make us understand, make you people understand and make it easy for you people, they have made it in they have represented in hexadecimal format. That's it. Actually 32-bit storage is in this format. Okay, this is your least significant bit. This zero is least significant bit.
Yeah,
Huh?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is
Yeah, sir.
okay? Yeah, here this is the least significant bit. Actually what we discussed in this related to bitband operation, you can see here, I'll show you. The address allotment we have seen here. See, once you see this, 2000 bit 0 is stored in which value? The address of 22000 bit 0. Okay, bit 0. Bit 1 is stored in 22004. Bit 2 is stored in 22008. Okay, this is actually a bit alias region. What we have to do now, what they have asked for modification of a bit 2. Bit 2 is this one. See, this is the bit 0, this is bit 1 and this is the bit 2. This is your bit 2 value. Okay. This bit 2 value they want to write or modify it with the value of 0. Now what we have in this one? We have 1 in this. See, if we are going for this, 0 bit is stored in where? It is stored in 220000. Then your this bit, first bit is stored in 220004. Okay, and this second bit is stored in 220008 bit. Okay, this is the address value where these bits are stored in a alias band. Okay, and now I want to change the value here, the second bit. Simply take the address 22008 and write the value 0 into that address. I am writing the value 0 into that address. Then what you will get, if I am removing simply the address value after the modification, what is the value for this? 1000. What is the value? Huh? The above values are same, 3355. A value is same, last C is also same, another last one C is got changed. The value of the C is changed. Now what we have is 1000. What is the value for this?
8.
Yeah, 8. This will be your new value which is present in this address. Understood? This is how we can change the value in each and every bits present in your bit band region. If you are changing with respect to each and every bit, then bit band alias region is used to do that operation. Okay, understood everyone? Anyone reply pa?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is how we are going to do bit band operation. That is an example I have shown here. Okay, next is CMISIC, that is the Cortex M3 microcontrollers are gaining. No, 1 second, that is related to Cortex microcontroller software interface standards. That is software interface standards. How we are going to do that software interface with respect to the Cortex M3. The Cortex M3 microcontrollers are gaining momentum in the embedded application market as more and more products based on the Cortex M3 processor and software that support the Cortex M3 processor are emerging. As and when the Cortex M3 processor are getting more emergent and this industry is also accepting these type of Cortex M3 microcontrollers, then different type of software it should support, because it should be implemented in different type of industrial applications. For that reason, software is also getting more emerging with respect to or developed with respect to the Cortex M3. There are also a number of companies providing embedded software solutions, including Codex and data processing libraries and various software and debugging solutions with respect to Cortex M3. the CMSIC also developed by ARM to allow users of the Cortex M3 microcontrollers to gain the most benefit from all these software solutions and to allow them to develop their embedded applications quickly and reliably. See, whatever the softwares they are developing, it should be allowing them to develop their embedded application quickly and reliably with respect to the functioning of ARM or Cortex M3. The Cortex Microcontroller Software Interface Standard, that is CMSIC, was started in 2008 to improve the software usability and interoperability of ARM controller software. In 2008, it has been started with respect to software development. It is integrated into the driver libraries provided by the silicon vendors, providing a standardized software interface for the Cortex M3 processor features as well as a number of common system and IO functions. Whenever we are writing the software or using standard softwares are interfaced into the Cortex M3, whenever it is implemented or whenever you are doing in the scratch session, means whenever silicon is etched with respect to the design of your Cortex M3, at that time only you are going to implement or interface the software into the Cortex M3. Okay, and as well as the number of common systems and IO functions are also implemented whenever the silicon vendors are implementing their software only. The library is also supported by the software companies including embedded OS vendors and compiler vendors. Both OS vendors and compiler vendors are also supporting with respect to the library. Okay. Here you can see CMSIC provides a standardized access interface for the embedded software products. How we can see softwares are application software, embedded operating system, middleware softwares and all. All those things, device driver libraries will be provided in uh, Cortex microcontroller system interface softwares. And this is directly implemented whenever the microcontroller hardware is developed. At the time of development of hardware only, you are going to implement all these software inside the Cortex M3, M0 and M1, any type of Cortex microcontrollers. Okay, and these softwares are application software, embedded software and middleware. In middleware, the peripheral devices, IO devices, which can be having their software inside that one. Aims of CMSIC is are improve software portability and reusability, enable software improve the software portability and reusability, and enable software solution suppliers to develop the product that can work seamlessly with the device libraries from various silicon vendors. Whatever the software solutions are provided to develop the product, they should work seamlessly with the device libraries from various silicon vendors, because different type of silicon vendors are there. Whatever the libraries they are providing, that should be seamlessly working with respect to the Cortex M3 which is developed. Okay, allow embedded developers to develop software quicker with an easy to use and standardized software interface. With respect to the standardized software interface, it should be easy to use with respect to embedded developers. Allow embedded software to be used on multiple compiler products. Different type of multiple compilers should also support with respect to embedded software. Avoid device driver capabilities, compatibility issues when using software solutions from multiple sources. If we are using from multiple sources, device driver capability issues can be avoided, should be avoided. CMSIC with respect to that area of standardization. The scope of CMSIC involves standardization in the following area, that is hardware abstraction layer, that is HAL for Cortex M processor registers. Hardware abstraction layer. This includes standardized register definition for NVIC, system control block register, SysTiX register, MPU register, and number of NVIC and core feature access functions. That is related to hardware abstraction layer. With respect to this, it will be it will process the registers. What all the main standardized registers we have with respect to NVIC special registers? These are system control blocks, SysTick registers, MPU, memory protection unit register, number of NVIC, how many number of nested vector interrupt controllers are there, core features, access functions are can be done with respect to this HAL. Standardized system exception names. This allows OS and middleware to use system exceptions easily without compatibility issues. Your system OS, main OS and middleware areas are there, libraries are there, no? They will be system exceptions which whatever the system exceptions are there, they will support with respect to the compatibility issues. Standardized means if you want to connect the new device which whose library is not present in your Cortex M3, then whenever you are connecting that new devices and all, the software should be installed and library should be created in your CMSIC. That's why the middleware area is there, no? That will support it with respect to compatibility. Standardized method of header file organization. This makes it easier for user to learn new Cortex microcontroller products and improve software portabilities. See, with respect to standardized method of header file organization, it makes easier for user to learn new Cortex microcontroller products and improve the software portability. Means if already header files are there, what all things you want to know related to software, hardware, how what all the products has to be connected, what all the peripherals should be connected, all those things if you know directly, then easily the user can understand related to Cortex microcontroller products. Common method for system initialization. Each microcontroller unit vendor provides the system initialization, that is system INET function in their device driver library for essential setup and configuration such as initialization of clocks. Again, this helps new user to start to use Cortex M microcontrollers and aid software portability. Whenever they want to initialize the new libraries or new devices are connected, at that time system initialization support will be given. Okay, initial setups, everything they can do with respect to the new devices which are connected to Cortex M3 processor. Okay, standardized intrinsic functions, that is intrinsic functions are normally used to produce the instructions that cannot be generated by the IEC or iOS C, that is C in the C programming. By having standardized intrinsic function, software reusability and portability are considerably improved. Standardized intrinsic functions means already if you have the standard table with respect to the instruction or library with respect to the instruction, the software reusability and portability will be improved with respect to the instructions. Common access functions for communication. This provides the set of software interface functions for common communication interfaces, including the universal asynchronous receiver or transmitter, universal asynchronous receiver and transmitter, Ethernet, and serial peripheral interface, that is SPI. These three are the actual common access functions for the communication. Means if you want to communicate from the Cortex M3 device towards the peripherals or peripherals towards the main Cortex M3, then these three type of communications are used. Communication methods are used to transfer the data or information, anything. By having these common access functions in the device driver library, reusability and portability of embedded software are improved. If you have the common access functions, all device driver libraries already, then reusability, portability of the embedded software will be improved. Standardized way for embedded software to determine system clock frequency. A system variable called system frequency is defined in the device driver code only, and this allows embedded OS to set up the SysTick unit based on the system clock frequency. With respect to the system clock frequency, you are going to set up the operating system SysTick function, which will provide the clock for or cycle for the execution of your main program or application. You can see that organization of CMSIC. With respect to the user, you will be having only application code. Whatever you want to execute, that will be in the application code. If we are going to the level of real-time operating system, you will be having the real-time kernel and middleware components. Means if you have any other external devices which doesn't support your actual microcontroller, then you need middleware components where you can update your device driver libraries. Okay, with respect to CMSIC, in that level, core peripheral functions with respect to real time and also with respect to application, what all the peripheral functions are there that can be stored, or library functions are generated here. Middleware for access functions which are new connections, and device peripheral functions, external devices which are connected directly from the application code towards the CMSIC. Peripheral registers and interrupt or exception vector definitions are connected through all these functions. And then microcontroller unit will be connected with the processor code, system tick, RTOS kernel timer, a nested vector interrupt controller, NVIC, debug and trace interface, other peripherals, Cortex M processor will be having all these connection which are connected directly from the CMSIC function. Okay. Organization of CMSIC, that is divided into multiple layer as shown as follows. Core peripheral access layer, where name definitions, address definitions and helper function to access the core registers and core peripherals. That's why it is one part, that is a core peripheral access layer, where you will be having the definitions, means name which device is accessing your Cortex M3, from which address it is accessing it, and to which address it want to access, helper functions, all these and it will be accessing the core registers and core peripherals, that is core peripheral access layer. Middleware layer access layer is common method to access peripherals for the software industry, and targeted communication interfaces includes Ethernet, UART and SPI, as we discussed in the previous one only, allows portable software to perform communication task on any Cortex microcontroller that supports the required communication interfaces. In this middleware access layer, it will provide the accessible connection using this interfaces like Ethernet, UART and SPI. It will be supporting the microcontroller to communicate, give the interface with for the communication, that is middleware access layer. Device peripheral access layer, that is MCU specific, that is name definition, address definition, driver code to access the peripherals. What all the driver codes are there to access the peripherals, that can be done with respect to device peripheral access layer. If you are going for access function for peripherals, optional additional helper functions for peripherals, any other additional helper functions or additional softwares are needed to run your peripherals, then you need access functions for peripherals. The role of these layers is summarized in this figure. Where is it? 10.7. Here you can see all the layers, how it will be connected with respect to the MCU and RTOS and users. Next we have advanced microcontroller bus architecture, AMBA, that is advanced microcontroller bus architecture. How many interface buses are there? What all the communications we can do with respect to this bus? What type of data we can transmit? How much time it will take to transmit and how much time it will be taking if you are doing the parallel communication. All those things we will see in this advanced microcontroller architecture. Yeah. The advanced microcontroller bus architecture specification defines an on-chip communication standard for high-performance embedded microcontrollers. With respect to high-performance embedded controllers, it is a on-chip communication standard. Means within the chip, whatever the architecture we have seen, the communication between the memory areas of data, code and all towards the debugging or execution areas. Okay. Three distinct buses are defined with the AMBA specification, that is advanced high performance bus, advanced system bus and advanced peripheral bus. These three are the buses which are connected internally in the processor. A test methodology is included with the AMBA specification which provides the infrastructure for modular macro cell test and diagnostic access. To find out the specifications or to check with respect to the AMBA specification, we have provided the infrastructure for modular macro cell test and diagnostic accesses. In this, the advanced high performance bus, that is AHB, the AMBA AHB is a high performance, high clock frequency system module, and the AHB act as a high performance system backbone bus. High performance means the data transmission speed will be high. ABH supports the efficient connection of processor, on-chip memories and off-chip external memories interfaces with a low power peripheral macro cell function. Using the low power macro cell function, you can connect it towards the off-chip external memories, on-chip memories also. AHB also specified to ensure of use in an efficient design flow using synthesis and automated test techniques. It can also be used with respect to the design flow, that is using a synthesis function for synthesis function and also for the automated test techniques. Advanced system bus, that is ASB. The ASB is a high performance system module. ASB is an alternative system bus suitable for the use where the high performance features of AHB are not required. Wherever the AHB is not required, but compared to AHB, the ASB is little less performable or less speeder compared to AHB. In the areas where the high speed or high performance is not that much required, at that time you will go, and medium speed of performance is needed, at that time you will go with the advanced system bus. ASB also supports the efficient connection of processors, on-chip memories and off-chip external memory interfaces with low power peripheral macro cell function, same as your AHB function. And advanced peripheral bus, APB. AMBA, APB is a low power peripherals. APB is optimized for the minimal power consumption and reduced interface complexities to support peripheral function. Interface complexity is very less. As and when you are connecting to the peripheral functions or peripheral devices, it should be acting as a normal communication bus. Okay, and APB can use in a configuration with either version of the system bus. Any version of the system bus you can use for